Hey, how's it going, people? My name is Big Moon, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Battlefield 1. Yes, we have finally been told exactly what DICE are up to with the Battlefield franchise coming out this October. There's going to be a new Battlefield game set in World War 1 called Battlefield 1, which is a bit of a dodgy title. I don't know. To me, the title almost looks like it was sort of like done in 5 minutes and not really given too much of a fuck about, but that's besides the point. Anyway, we're excited about this game, let's talk about it. So, as I said in the commentary a couple of weeks ago, when I was talking about the leaks at the time, I was personally hoping that they would go down this route of having a historical set Battlefield title, because it's been quite a long time since we've seen something like this, and in the current market, there's just way too many modern to futuristic FPS games. And they, in the end, all kind of blend into one big mishmash of just boring crap. To me, at least, anyway. It's just, there's been too much of it over the past few years. The same way it was about 10 years ago, where there was way too many World War II games. It's just been a while since we've had a game like this, at least a AAA title like this, and I'm just happy that they've actually taken the risk of going down this route of going for a World War I game. So, what did we learn from this trailer that came out yesterday? Okay, so the main concern people had when I was talking about World War I being a possibility a couple of weeks ago was that it would be a boring setting where it's going to be two trenches on opposing sides, there's a big mud field in the middle, and people are just going to gas and shoot and stab each other in the middle of nowhere, and if you poke your head over your trench, you're probably going to lose it. Now, that was a lot of World War I, and that's not exactly what makes for a great FPS game, but it seems that in this trailer, they've kind of went down the route of, you're going to be in multiple theatres of war, and they're probably going to stick to the single sort of offensives and stuff like that that were more mobile in World War I, rather than it just being both sides sitting in trenches for months on end. Now, of course, trenches are probably going to play a big part in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had a couple of game modes centered around taking and defending trenches, but I think that the actual map design is going to be a lot more open than what people were probably thinking when it came to World War I. I mean, this is a fictional title. It's not exactly going to be solely based on real events of World War I. And the feeling that I got from the trailer as well is they're going to go down the route of having a lot more experimentation when it comes to the vehicles and the weapons, because World War I was, when it comes down to it, an age of experimentation and really quick advancement of weapons technology. So there's going to be things in there that you've probably never heard of and I've never heard of, and maybe they're just totally made up, but there's going to be some really sort of steampunky type weapons and vehicles and stuff, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun just experimenting with all of these really old ghetto ways of trying to fight warfare. I mean, you saw that guy that looked like a fucking knight. That must be some sort of battle pickup or something. Like, there's no way it's just going to let you walk around looking like Iron Man for the whole match. But I think that they're going to go down a route of having a lot more experimentation with the vehicles and weapons, battle pickups, and just in general the whole sort of way that combat works in a Battlefield title, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how it really flows when you're in game and actually playing, because I of course haven't seen anything yet, even though a lot of other YouTubers have. Wink wink, nudge nudge. I've only been at this for about 6 years, DICE. But like I touched on earlier, in terms of settings for the game, it seems that it's going to be jumping around the whole globe instead of just centering around the most famous battlefield being the Western Front. That seems to be the one that most people think of when they think of World War I, but there were of course several fronts. You can go for an African front, you could do it in the Middle East when it comes to they're fighting all the way through Iraq, or Mesopotamia as it was called at the time. You could be fighting on the beaches of Gallipoli as the Australians against the Turks, or you could be fighting in this more northeasterly battlefields when it comes to the Russians, Austro-Hungarians, the Germans. Shit, they even had a whole shitstorm with Romanians, Bulgarians, and the Serbians and all that shit. So I just think that there's potentially a lot of really great settings all the way through this game, because it was a world war. It didn't just happen in one place. One thing I did notice in the actual trailer was the inclusion of dreadnought warships, as well as possibly destroyers. I'm no naval expert, but to me that would look almost like they're probably going to have a game mode centered around naval warfare, and maybe possibly throwing planes in there as well, although aircraft carriers weren't a thing at the time, so I'm not really too sure if that would work. But it doesn't seem like there's any real big battlefield of World War I where you could have naval warfare going on at the same time as ground combat and possibly even aerial warfare as well. It just seems that if they're going to throw all three into one thing, I don't know how they would do that. There wasn't really too many massive battles involving all of the different branches of military at the same time, so it'll be interesting to see how they work that together. I don't know. But yeah, the thing that I'm actually most excited about with the fact that they've went down this risky route of making a World War I game is that they'll probably go forward from this. I mean, just look at the title, it's Battlefield 1. I'm not saying that they're going to make a Battlefield 2 and set it in World War 2, because Battlefield 2 already, of course, exists. So how they're going to work around doing that, I'm not entirely sure. But I think that they're possibly going to go from World War 1 to World War 2, and then possibly into the Korean War, maybe the Vietnamese War, maybe to the Middle East again after that. I don't know. They might go in some sort of chronological order through warfare, maybe leading all the way up to Battlefield 5, where everything goes to shit and it's World War 3, possibly. So I still think that they're probably going to do that in the end. Because let's face it, they're always going to come back to the modern military setting, because that is kind of what's in right now. But I'm just happy that they are taking the risk instead of just playing it safe and being boring, because, you know, this is more cool. This is a more cool idea, and I want to see more stuff like this. Now, random shout out here at the end. I thought about doing this the other day. I mentioned this in the last commentary I done about this subject, where I said I'm a massive, like, history geek and stuff. I like all that shit. If you guys are interested at all in learning about World War I specifically before this game, I don't know, maybe it's something that'll interest you. I've been watching this channel now for about 6 months or 8 months or something, which goes through World War I week by week as it's happening exactly 100 years in the future. Because of course World War I is happening right now to the day. Battle of Verdun's been happening for the last 3 months and it's still got about another 5 to go. Possibly you might want to check out this channel. It's called The Great War. If that sounds like that would interest you, then I'm going to leave a link to that channel in the description down below. This isn't sponsored or anything. I just really like these guys' videos. So if you want to check that out, if you've got similar interest in myself, I don't know, then give that a bash. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are exactly on them going back to World War I with Battlefield, because some of you guys were skeptical a couple of weeks ago, but from what I saw after the trailer came out, everyone was basically saying Call of Duty is dead, Battlefield is the new king, and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know how enthusiastic you guys are. Leave me a comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed the little commentary. Goodbye.